Hello there. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 26 of the Long Comics Book Club, a bi-weekly podcast about long comics, also known as manga and graphic novels. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. My name is Shane, and I'm the older brother. I'm joined by Spence, the younger brother. Spence, what house do you want to belong to?
I think we're going with House Reed right here. That's the coolest house from Game of Thrones. Do
Because
you even
indeed,
do you even remember which one that is?
no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's the house that the two people who are with Bran, the two like siblings that are with Bran are from.
I
And
do know
no,
what you're talking about,
yeah,
though.
and then notably their dad is like the most ride or die dude for Ned Stark.
Hey,
The only
respect.
survivor from the Tower of Joy.
And why are they talking about Game of Thrones, you're wondering? Why? Of course, it's because today we are talking about The Hedge Knight by George R.R. Martin as our long comic of conversation today. Today is a Game of Thrones special. We're going to be starting off our episode talking about The Hedge Knight by George R.R. Martin with art by somebody. They really just plaster George R. R. Martin's name all over this.
Yes.
It's really everywhere you look, it's just George's name.
Well, I think it's important. They really wanted you to know, like, this isn't some spin-off. This
Yeah,
is great from George R. R. Martin's mind.
yeah, they're just really trying to emphasize that. So, the first part of the show, we're going to be talking about The Hedge Knight, which is a graphic novel, however, soon to be HBO miniseries, main
Yes.
series.
Do you, I don't know because we'll definitely get more into that of what exactly they're doing. But
Yeah, we're going
yeah,
to get into that as well as we're going to, for our second part of the show, well, sometimes we talk about our most recent media we've consumed. We're going to spend some time really getting into Game of Thrones. Just because I think that Spence, as someone who has consumed a large volume of Game of Thrones content,
I think
wanna
the accurate would be referred to literally everything George R. R. Martin has ever written about it.
that's which is an impressive thing to state. But in order for that to not dominate the graphic novel section of this podcast, we're going to reserve some time at the end for Spence to be able to talk a little bit about his thoughts on some of the George R. R. Martin universe, also known as the GRRMU. and
Or the Song of Ice and Fire.
yeah, I guess that's probably better than the GRMMU or GRRMU. But after we talk about that, we'll wrap up the podcast by introducing the book for the next book club, which will be coming out on January 17th. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome to the book club. We're excited to have you here. I am somewhat still of a novice in this space, learning about graphic novels and comic books and manga, whereas Spence, the owner and proprietor of Vesperia Manga and Comics, VesperiaComics.com, and physically located at 1935 West Broadway, is our expert in the field. So, Spence, Vesperia, starting off a new year, 2026, new year, new me.
Yes.
How are things at the comic shop?
The shop's been great. Yeah, had a super successful Christmas season. So now, yeah, let's hope the net and finishing our first full year of being open. So let's hope the second full year is just even better.
Yeah. How exciting to set high goals. I mean, I think that's under I think it's realistic. I think you can hope for even better year two. Why not?
Yes, I think that's kind of what you have to. Yeah, yes. If it's not even better, then oh boy,
Yeah, that's I guess
we're having some issues.
that's sort of how things work. That's very true. Well, if you haven't had a chance yet to visit Spence, if you're in Vancouver, British Columbia, go swing by, check out the store, say hello. If you're not able to come see us physically, check out VesperiaComics.com, but also you can always locate us on Instagram as well as on Blue Sky at Long Comics Book Club. We also have this podcast up on all of your favorite platforms: YouTube, Apple, Spotify, etc., etc. We also have a Discord if you want to jump in there, share some of your thoughts, some of your opinions on the Hedge Knight. We'd be keen to have you there because all those links are available on our link tree. But moving into things, speaking about the Hedge Knight, let's move into talking about the long comic of the episode. Suspense. The Hedge Knight by George R.R. Martin. Why did you choose this as our long comic?
Yes. Well, as I think was made clear by my last comment, I am a massive Song of Ice and Fire fan. This is my excuse to get to talk about Song of Ice and Fire. And also, unironically, I think The Hedge Knight, the novella, is actually like possibly like one of the best things George R. R. Martin's ever written. And like in comic book form, it's still just an absolute masterpiece.
Interesting. Okay, that's considering you've just previously stated that you've consumed all George R. R. Martin content to then say this is the best thing he's written is a
One of the best things.
okay. Fair enough.
Because A Storm of Swords is like literally probably my favorite book of all time.
Hmm.
It's either that or World War Z, depending on my mood.
Wow, you
So
really do like this guy.
yes.
Yeah. Clearly a big fan. Okay.
But yeah, Storm of Swords is like the best thing he's ever written. Like Storm of Swords is just an absolute masterpiece.
Wow. Well, we'll find
That's
out
the
more
third
about
book,
that
for the record.
later on. But so for now, focusing on the Hedge Knight. So because I think that it can be helpful to give a little bit of background for our conversation, if you haven't read the Hedge Knight yet, it would encourage you checking it out. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you can always look at time codes, skip ahead if you need to.
Yeah. Also for this episode, an extra special little spoiler warning, because not only are we going to be spoiling The Hedge Knight, the graphic novel, we are unquestionably going to be spoiling the entirety of the first season of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Right. Yeah, because there
Yeah.
is the HBO special coming out, which is based on this graphic novel. So
Yes. Well,
almost
it's based on
assuredly.
it's based on the novella that this graphic novel is also based on.
Hmm.
So yeah.
There you go. Double spoilers.
So like yes, we are not going to make any attempt to hide that. So
No, fully upfront. Don't get mad at us.
yeah.
So the plot synopsis, front to back, of what happens in the Hedge Knight. This is going to be my abridged version, which I think will give you some insight into how I experience this, which is that you have Dunk, who is just the attendant to Sir Arlen, a knight, who has to unfortunately bury Sir Arlen at the very start of this book. Dunk then knights himself effectively and decides,
Pretends to be a knight.
yeah,
Yeah.
and sets off to earn glory at a tournament of knights. Becomes attended by a child named Egg, and he enters into the tournament through essentially good luck and appealing to Prince Baelor. I'm going to start throwing a lot of names out. The main people you
Yeah.
need to know in this are Dunk, who is somewhat of a hapless behemoth of a man,
Yeah.
and Egg, a little boy, who we
Yes.
find out is actually royalty.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah. The series these like novellas are from are known as the like Dunk and Egg stories.
Dunk and Egg.
Dunk and Egg, which
Love
is
that.
yeah. Which
And
yeah.
so, through a series of circumstance, Dunk ends up trying to defend a puppeteer who he is enamored with. He is challenged to a 7v7 night battle.
Yeah.
He survives. The prince who first gave him the opportunity does not. And then it wraps up the book with Dunk declining to become a knight who would stay with one household and
A
instead
landed knight, as they are referred to as.
and is instead a hedge knight, which is a wandering knight who goes from place to place.
Yes. And then he also convinces Egg's father that Egg should come with him.
Yeah, and then Egg gets to join Dunk on a permanent
Yes.
basis. So this former squire at the start of the book ends as an official knight who now has a squire by the end of the graphic novel.
Yeah. Fun fact, he's still not a knight is the fun part. He's still just pretending to be a knight. Still never gets knighted.
Oh, he has to get knighted. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's one of the fun little there's also a fun so this is one of my most annoying complete tangent here about there's like this whole thing is like it's ambiguous whether Dunk was knighted or not. It's like no, it's not ambiguous. He just straight up wasn't knighted. It's very clear about that.
That's very clear. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's what makes Dunk is very much hapless, and he plays hapless in this, and very much it is a stroke of luck what keeps on happening to him.
Which actually, so for the not the big fan of this, Dunk and Egg will in the future will be Sir Duncan the Tall is like the greatest member of the Kingsguard in history, and Egg will become Aegon the Fourth, Aegon the Unlikely, the greatest, like the last great Targaryen king of Westeros.
Oh,
So
well,
he's
that's
yeah, he's Daenerys Targaryen's great grandfather.
okay. So this is where we start to get into talking a little bit about the graphic novel,
Yes.
because this is where we get to very wildly. Because you, as a diehard George R. R. Martin fan, understand these bloodlines and these timelines and what is
Yeah.
happening. Me, as someone who has watched the original series when it first came out and has not engaged with any of the content since, nor have I returned to said content, very much coming in a much drier way into this. Um, boy, uh, really cool story. Just some initial thoughts, which is it is an exciting story. It's a fun story. It's cool to see Dunk on this little snapshot in what we know to be a very grand, epic world, and that it is just this little piece of it. But it is still very, it feels like a J.R.R. Martin story, that it is a million characters,
Oh
a
yeah.
million things you're supposed to know what's happening. Fortunately, you can still make it through for the most part without knowing those characters, but
Yeah.
you lose some of it. So like,
That is fair. But like the simple basics of it, it's like Dunk's not he's Dunk the Lunk, thick as a fat castle wall, but he's like he is fundamentally a good person, which is a big part of
mhm,
it. And it's about him like trying to navigate like this knightly chivalry thing. And yeah, there's a ton of
mhm,
characters you're not going to be able to recognize if you don't know those ones, but like kind of ends up over his head. Doesn't he very much ends up over his head, like
mhm.
dealing with this like knightly chivalry and like the vows of a knight and all that.
Yeah, so I appreciated being able to empathize and understand his experience. I felt like I very much resonated with Dunk because of that. And he's a good character. I think Dunk is a really good character. I think he's very simple-minded, which I think is always nice, but considering the circumstance in which he's put and the way in which he needs to operate in these politics, I think it's interesting to watch how he deals with things.
Yes.
Uh,
Because also I think that Dunk's not dumb. He's
no.
naive and he has a very low opinion of himself, but he's not an idiot.
For sure not. No, he's quite clever, if
Yeah.
anything. Considering especially that he's essentially putting on this charade, this farce, and getting away with it is sort of a testament to his own wisdom. Maybe not intelligence, but at least his wisdom is quite high, that's for sure. And so with the Hedge Knight, it is very, yeah, very not stand. That's the first thing I would ask you. Would you consider this to be a standalone? Do you think someone who has no experience
With any of
with
the Game of Thrones
would
stuff.
be able to engage with this content?
Maybe.
Hmm.
Because it's still like a basic story of like knightly. You're gonna miss a whole lot of stuff, but
Hmm.
like on its own, it's still like yeah, a basic story of like knights. I guess my point is you could file away the names and it would still like kind of work. Like if they weren't called Targaryens and weren't
Hmm.
called yeah, Rosways and um
Baylors and
Baelors and what's the other
Aegons and
Baratheons? That's the other big house that
Yeah,
has an important character in.
you would still understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. There is something additional gained if you have the background, but it does operate well enough. It is harder to follow because you're having to suddenly learn a lot of names. And if you listen to the episode on the house on the lake, you will know that I am not good when it comes to being thrown a lot of characters all at once. I have a difficult time tracking it. So, for that reason, something like Egg becoming revealed as Aegon lost something of its impact because I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah. But like it's still the same idea. Like, oh, Egg's actually secretly a prince. Like that still
Yeah,
works.
so that part I understood, but then I didn't understand who was his brothers and who were his cousins and who was his father and
Yeah. You can't
all
like
this,
trace the
that, and
genealogy
no,
like
I
I could.
certainly I certainly cannot. Uh, but kudos to you for being able to follow it. So yeah, a lot of characters with our main ones being good. I like all the characters. They all sort of have that really interesting, just that time of honor and of um needing to garner respect and pride, and the fact that they would endanger their lives for this guy that they don't know at all in the 7 versus 7 night battle makes it a yeah, everyone's very clearly villain or hero, but then you have some people who do switch sides. And so it is, I was excited. The other thing, because it's a GRRM thing, I liked that I didn't actually know how this was going to end. Because there's for
Mm.
sure a real chance Dunk's going down in the end zone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
But
had
then,
did not rule that out.
but yeah, but then the whole I think the big swerve at the end with Aegon. No, what's his name? Maegor. No,
Makar. Makar?
Maekar.
Yeah.
Maekar's Egg's dad. Baelor's the prince. Baelor's
Oh, who
the crown.
died?
Baelor's the crown prince. Maekor's Egg's dad,
Mm,
who kills Maekor accidentally.
yeah.
And like that's like a big swerve, and it's like it also like adds that obviously this doesn't really get to see in this story, but that whole part that like Dunk now has to live with the fact that like the crown prince, who by all accounts is like an amazing guy, like
Hmm.
this is actually something I see brought up is like he's like the one example of like actually a guy because often George R. R. Martin will be like great princes or whatever who like legendary princes who are supposed to like do whatever and often they're like turn out to be frauds. But this
Right.
guy, by all accounts, appears to be just as great as like the legends refer to him as,
Hmm.
and he dies trying to save Dunk.
Yeah, he's too good for this
Yeah.
novel. He couldn't. He's too good for the JRM world.
Yes.
The
Real.
JRMU. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it happen. MCU, DCU, JRMU.
GRRMU. Yep.
I'm forcing it. Yeah, so he that was an appreciated plot twist for sure. And yeah, R.I.P. Baylor. It's also funny talking about Makar. I could only think about the Legend of Zelda with Makar,
Makar. Yeah.
the wooden child thing. That's neither here nor there. Uh, but so then thinking about I mean, jumping straight into maybe now more thinking about the narrative. So there's a couple of different parts to so characters, great plot, really some good twists in there. I think otherwise it's a pretty standard basic plot. I
Yeah.
like that it's self-contained. What do you think about the ending where he declines being a landed knight?
Yeah. I think it's an interest. It's like a. I think it kind of shows that like Dunk is still like wants to find out what he's going to do with his life now. Like a landed knight is like he doesn't realize like I think it's a combination of like him not thinking he deserves to be all that, and also like
Mhm.
him about like maybe I need to go out in the world and like find what my meaning is,
Interesting.
and bring Egg with him because that's what Egg want. Like teach Egg what the small folk are like.
Yeah, because yeah, certainly doesn't shirk away despite it being a prince from like be really holding it over him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Still gonna clop. What did he say? Clop him on the ear.
Yeah, exactly.
Clop him
That's
on
an
the ear.
interesting take on it. Yeah, I was surprised when he said he didn't want to be a landed knight. I didn't know if I guess I could see just because he doesn't stay with the other knights. Like he sort of stays away from the rest of them during the tournament. Lives under an elm tree. So I think that you're right that he doesn't feel like he's earned his place properly yet.
Yes, because also then also not with the elementary also like he spends the actual tournament watching with small folk rather than with the knights.
That's true.
And
And
yeah, and later when he won't knight the younger Rosway. Like he's like
mm,
please knight me because he like doesn't think he deserves to knight anyone because he's not actually a knight.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting angle on his character again, really providing some more depth into him. Right at the end there as well. I think that's interesting. I don't know. Would you consider that a character arc? Just, I don't think there's really a character arc there. I think it's just more developing character out of necessity. But
Yes. Yeah.
at the same time, I guess it's sort of like his battle prowess, right? Like he's almost like afraid to battle at first, and then he really gains confidence in interactions and yeah, interesting, cool little vignette based in this much bigger universe and world.
which I think is another thing we need to bring up. It's a very, despite the life or deathness of it, it's much lower stakes than like everything else in the
Hmm.
GRRMMU. There's no big wars going on. It's a tournament that
It's lower
a
stakes
lot of,
until they kill the king to
yeah.
be.
But yeah, but like it's not a bit like it feels like any other tournament that's happened. Or, like it doesn't at first feel like it's going to be any kind of important event.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And it doesn't need to be. Yeah, it's supposed to be. I really like it for that reason. That it's just really meant to give you insight into a different part of the world where the stakes aren't always constantly so high battling for the throne
Yeah.
and all this
Yes.
backhanding stuff. It's just, no, here's a really interesting little snippet into some of the almost like the culture, you could argue, the culture
Yeah.
of the world.
Absolutely. Like specifically the culture of knighthood, but that's a big part of the story. So
Yeah. They kind of makes, I mean, would make it interesting to go back to Game of Thrones, watch it again, understanding some of that more,
yeah.
some of that more, that additional component of knightliness, of knighthood, however you'd pronounce it.
Yeah.
And so some other elements, so plot good, characters good, making our way through. Something else with the plot though, and just sort of the way that this is formatted, it is narrated by Dunk throughout.
Yes.
Is that because he's in the I maybe this is explained more in the novella itself. Is he writing this down? Is this like a found footage
So this
situation?
is every Game of Thrones book with the exception of World of Ice and Fire and Fire and Blood are kind of like in-universe textbooks.
Do you
But the
say
actual
World of Ice and Fire, or do you mean Song of Ice and Fire?
World of Ice and Fire is a illustrated like book
Oh wow.
encyclopedia he's put out. Um,
I don't know why I thought I could correct you on something.
yeah. So like all the Duncan Egg stories and the main Song of Ice and Fire books are all always every chapter is from a specific character's point of view.
Oh, okay.
So
So
it, so
that's
it,
just sort of how
that's just how he
JRM
does,
likes to tell stories.
or at least very least how he likes to tell Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah. So it's
Hmm.
always third person limited omniscient. That's the right word, I think.
Is it
No,
not first?
no, so it's not in first person,
No.
but it's
Isn't this first person? I don't think we see anything outside of when we're with Dunk.
that's the thing. So it's always from the character's perspective, always exact, but like a third person. Yeah, third person limited omniscient. We only get one character's mind.
Oh, true, 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 true. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I
Right.
think
Man, trying to
remembering
remember all these narrative things.
my high school,
From high school,
my high
yeah.
school. Yeah.
That's what yeah, it is third person limited omniscient. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so what do you think that that's, I mean, I think that that's rewarding in this story. I think that's part of how when we're able to talk about Dunk's logic when it comes to declining the land at night part at the end is because we've been able to get his voice throughout. And
Yeah.
yeah, I like being able to hear Dunk's voice. I think that it's good to have that narration, and it's also I love how clear it is his voice. It doesn't
Yes.
just feel like JRM speaking through Dunk, it feels like Dunk is his own person,
Yes.
which I really enjoyed as well. Yeah. Okay. Narratively, and now understanding that within the, that's just like how JRM likes to write. That makes
Yes.
sense throughout.
Yeah. So all of them, all of Duncan Egg stories are just like
Mhm.
just Dunk's perspective of it the entire way through. Because yeah,
Yeah.
so there's three novellas. This is the first one.
Okay. So there is more to this.
Yes. Like did you read the little like bonus pages at the back?
I did.
Yes. So that's the beginning of the second novella.
Okay. But then they never turned the second one into a graphic novel.
I don't think so.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, the ending thing, I don't know if we really need to touch on it all. I thought the ending thing was weird. I thought it didn't really fit because
Oh
it
no, actually no, they
wasn't
totally have made a graphic novel in the second one.
something you haven't read.
No, well, okay. Well, I've read the actual I
The
have read
actual novella,
the
but
actual novella. So
yeah, okay,
yeah.
fair enough. Well, there you
Okay, yeah.
go.
Also, yeah, all three Duncan eggs appear. Yep, all three Duncan eggs have been made into a graphic novel.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I would seek out more of them. But I'll get more into that in a bit here. Yeah, the ending thing I thought was fine. You could sort of take it or leave it. It didn't really mesh, is where I was trying to understand why is this here.
Yeah,
So
well, I guess
now
that
that I
Now that you
understand
know
that
it's
it's
a
part of the
little
second.
preview. Yeah.
That makes more sense. So I was like, what? This doesn't like enhance the first story at all.
No.
And it doesn't really make sense timeline wise either.
Yeah,
Like
because
I
it's like
don't
straight up
get
like 2 years later.
Okay, yeah.
There's literally been like a massive plague that's killed like 10% of Westeros in between those two.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's yeah, like a huge amount of time has passed.
All right. So then the second part of this Hedge Knight graphic novel is not going to be part of our conversation
Well,
because
it's
that
like 3 pages, so like really.
it wasn't going to end much anyways. Going
Yeah.
back to something else we were just talking about though, in terms of GRRM writing and text, this is text dense.
Oh yeah. Well,
This is
because
reading material.
um, uh, as in addition to going back and reading, I always reread the graphic novels after I've suggested them.
Yeah.
In addition, I actually also went back and read the actual novella as well.
Wow.
And a whole bunch of this graphic novel is just like word for word. Like they just
Yeah.
took entire like I think like literally all of the dialogue, most of the it wouldn't surprise me if like literally every word is just like is straight up taken from the graphic novel, taken
Mhm.
from the novella. And then they just like remove
That's
this. They just like remove description because you don't need to explain what people look like.
right. That is unsurprising to me.
Yeah.
For sure, as I was reading this, I was like, this is the most reading I've had to do of anything we've done. I think this is so much text.
Oh yeah.
Not in a bad way necessarily, but it is
Yeah.
extremely interesting because it is so text dense.
Yes, but
Uh,
well, but like it's super text dense, but also like I find it absolutely enthralling. Like
yeah, it is for
it was
exciting as
it was
well.
one of the most page turner ones I've had. Even though I've read it before, rereading it again just was like, yeah, page
Hmm.
turner.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. I could definitely tell the tension and excitement, especially leading up to the 7-on-7. Yeah, there's a great build up and lead up in this for sure. Despite it being so text dense, the moments of action are all that more enhanced because of it. I mean, that's very much like the Game of Thrones TV series as well, where this it's a lot of politics and talking and dialogue heavy, but then you have these incredible action moments as well.
Mhm.
That's just sort of the nature of the what is it called? Westeros?
Westeros. That's
That's
where.
sort of the nature of Westeros.
Yeah.
Uh, However, it has to beg the question then, is it worth turning this novella into a graphic novel?
There lies the question. Is it ever worth? If the book's always better, is it always worth? What's the word I'm looking for?
Translation in media?
Yeah, like what does that mean? What
Is there actually an official word?
No, there is 100 adaptation.
Ah,
Is it ever worth adapting anything if the typical almost always the source material is better?
yeah. I mean, that's isn't that an interesting question? I think that some degree has to do with the success of it and what new elements is it adding.
Yeah.
Because I imagine when it comes to, we'll talk more about the Game of Thrones television later, but there was a lot of really exciting and interesting cinematic stuff done in that show that made it earn its own reputation apart from the books.
Yes.
Um, I think then even just some of the stuff that we've read as well, just like thinking about Batman adaptations into one of the Batman things we read was what became Batman, oh, Dark Knight?
Begins. It was
Yeah, Batman
begins.
Begins. Yeah, Batman
Yes.
Begins.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah. Batman Year One
it
favorite.
stands out as its own thing because you take elements of it, but you you create your own cinematic
Yes.
masterpiece and you add your own elements. Do you think there's been enough done here to warrant it being a graphic novel?
That is the question because this feels much more like a translation than an adaptation, really. Um,
Yeah.
so, which I guess the advantages of graphic novels, though, like we get to actually like physically see stuff and all that,
Hmm.
and it's often the case. It's interesting to like see through it again slightly differently.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point that it lets you, and it can engage with a new subset of people, such as myself, who might not otherwise have engaged with the novella. Uh, but I guess I'm there's a lot that I like about it. However, I think it's that I like the novella parts of it because I think visually, if I'm being honest, it's not very exciting to look
That
at.
is one of the art is fine.
The art's super fine. It's not
Yeah,
interesting
it's
in
not
the slightest.
earning any record. It's not, yeah, it's just looks fine.
It looks fine, but it's also the fact like there's no sort of interesting risks taken with the art style. There's no sort of interesting paneling done. Like maybe there's some stuff where it's over narration, where the paneling is a little bit more loose, but it's not really experimenting with it at all. And this is really coming from having engaged with some more content lately, where there's a lot of really interesting things you can do with exploring paneling,
Yes.
and a lot you can try and experiment with the art form. That I think it is. I think it plays it too safe. I think that's what I would say.
Mm.
It doesn't take any sort of visual risks. If it was like, here's the incredible pie filling, they would be like, okay, here's like the most bland pie cover because I don't need to do a lot because the filling's so good.
No, honestly, no, not a bad, because I'm also thinking about the Game of Thrones graphic novel adaptation is like
Hmm.
similarly like, yeah, art's fine.
Yeah.
But
The the
that one's has this like that one a lot more gets lost in the adaptation because like
hmm.
the Hedge Knight's like I don't know like 100 pages maybe not even that
Right.
and then try to fit all like 700 pages of Game of Thrones even to like
Yeah, way
even into
harder.
like four full graphic novels you still lose so much.
I'm now wondering how long this is because I'm looking at it and like I wouldn't be surprised if this was like 80 pages. Like I
I think it's
wonder how comparable it is
I
to
think it's much I think it's more than that. I think it's like
the Hedge Knight.
yeah.
The Hedge Knight book.
Uh,
It's 176.
yeah.
So,
No,
so is it longer than the novella?
yeah. Well, that makes sense because
Okay, that's pretty
yeah.
funny. Wow, so it's longer than the novel it's based off of, which makes sense because they're trying
Honest,
to,
that's typically how novels to create comics always work.
yeah.
Like looking at like light not into the manga side here. If you look at like light novels, it's like yeah, each volume of Apothecary Diaries, each light novel is like four manga volumes.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Interesting the way these things translate. That's always
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, and my guess is that based on reading the novella, there's must not have been a lot of significant plot points lost in translating
like
it
no,
to
literally none.
literally nothing. Yeah, yeah.
The entire thing
Uh,
is yeah.
yeah, so I think that's the most interesting question when it comes to this. Was it worth making it a graphic novel?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
sure. I think it's sort of why
honestly,
not?
I'm saying
But
yes because you would never would have read it if it didn't exist as a
yeah,
graphic
there you
novel.
go. That's a fair argument. Would it have been nice to sort of created space potentially to have explored other things and have people be able to engage with the original? Yeah, I think that's fair too. I don't know. It's an interesting, yeah, adaptations are interesting. I appreciate that nothing is it's not lazy in
No,
an adaptation by any
far
means.
from it.
No, but it is safe. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think but the strength of the characters and the story is enough to make it something memorable and strong and standalone. It's just too bad that the art didn't go over the edge because I think that art is something that I put a lot of merit into when it comes to these things.
Yes.
But that no, I still enjoyed it for sure. There was parts where I started to struggle a bit just because it is so Game of Thrones dense, but nevertheless, I still really enjoyed it and thought it was yeah, really cool story. And that's cool to know that it keeps going in other novellas and graphic novels as well. I had
Yes.
assumed it was just a one-off, but
Nope. It's yeah, three. And is in a very George R. R. Martin way. The third one came out right after A Dance with Dragons came out. So we've been waiting a good solid like 15 years since we've had a Dunk and
hmm,
Egg novella.
wow, but he did bring out another one. That's kind of surprising that he circled back.
But it's he did it like right after
Hmm.
Dance with Dragons. So
Oh,
it was
there you
still
go.
in that point when people still had hope.
Open him. Okay. Well, speaking of, I think that's a good chance to transition into talking about the
Yeah, I
fact
guess if there's any
that,
other little things about Hedge Knight, we can definitely it'll get filled in here.
yeah, so the Hedge Knight, as I think we mentioned at the top, is also being adapted into a HBO series as well called The Seven Kingdoms. A Knight
Oh,
of the Seven
Knight of the
Kingdoms.
Seven Kingdoms,
A Knight of the
which
Seven Kingdoms. All right. I haven't watched the trailer to this, so I'm gonna do that now.
we, we will
I
be
had
back
meant to do it
momentarily.
earlier, but
You will not be there for, while we do it, but we will watch it and then we will
yeah,
report back in a moment.
interesting. Okay. So I'm not coming back from having just watched the trailer,
Yes.
the official final trailer to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Wow, they really just do take a lot of the dialogue from the book straight into the trailer as well. That's really
Yes.
funny. Okay.
But like one
The
other thing I think looking at the
adaptation of
trailer
an
though,
adaptation of an adaptation. Okay.
yeah, they do appear to have like ton of the they seem to be adding a lot to the story.
Mhm.
Whether that be good or bad, we'll see.
Yeah, I certainly am not used to engaging with source material before dealing with adaptations. That's not normally my funnel of consumption. So it'll be interesting having that opportunity for the first time. Uh, yeah, really curious to, I'm surprised that it takes that's something we didn't really talk about yet. It takes a pretty humorous tone, it seems like. Like they're hitting a couple of like funny moments in the trailer. I'm like, I didn't really find this book funny. I didn't really
No.
think that, and that's certainly one of the things that I sort of raised an eyebrow at, which you talked about, was that Dunk is like, oh, I meant to go this way in the trailer. I was like, that's not really his character, though. Like,
Yeah,
that's
like
playing him the fool, and that's not what he
yeah, he's
is.
not a bumble. He thinks he's a bumbling idiot. He's not. That's a
Yeah.
huge part of his character. He has a massive like inferiority complex. He thinks he's a lot stupider, worse, whatever than he actually is.
Hmm.
He's actually like decent. He's decently smart.
Yeah. They hit that joke a couple times in the trailer. Interesting. I'm very curious to see how this
Yeah.
is received. I
Also, this is probably nitpicky, but like Dunk's way too short. Dunk needs to be a towering.
Right, he needs to be huge. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's part of the challenge is you're immediately limiting your casting if you're looking for like Mr. 7 foot. But
Yes.
at the same time, they did get Brienne of Tar.
Which actually that's another fun fact. George R. R. Martin confirmed that Brienne is an ancestor or a descendant of Dunk,
Oh, there you
and,
go.
and possibly
Yeah.
Hodor too. That's that part. That part's more up in the air.
He just wants to say that anyone tall is a
Well,
descendant
no,
of
no,
Dunk.
that one
All
specifically.
right.
Okay, good God. Okay, we're going deep. We're
Okay,
going deep right
we're
now.
not going
No,
there
we're
quite
going
yet.
deep. At one point, there's a flashback where Bran meets sees what's her name, old Nan when she's young, and she's talking to a person who's the exact description of Dunk. That's where
Hmm,
that one comes from.
got it. Okay. That probably makes more sense. So then thinking that it's getting adapted again. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, part of what's surprising about that, so it is a finish. I assume that he's done with the three novellas at
No,
this
he's
point.
not. That's the other interesting thing about this.
Oh God, it's gonna
Like,
happen again.
yeah, he wants to do the entirety of
No.
he wants to do Dunk and Egg's entire story.
Make it
We are like
stop.
10% of the way through Dunk and Egg's actual
Oh
story in the
God
novellas.
damn it. GRRM,
Because
get a
yeah.
grip.
Because yeah, the stories of Dunk and Egg, like legends of him, like Dunk like at one point like single-handedly ends a Blackfire rebellion. And like it goes all the way to like at one point there's like this huge tragedy that like kills both Dunk and Egg die in this like um
Wow, spoilers.
well,
When do you
both
find that out?
like early on in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
The tragedy
oh.
at Summerhall is like a really important history moment that happened like 100 years before Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
And that's what it's the thing that kills. But and like the thing is, we don't really know what happened, and the assumption is Duncan Egg will end with us learning exactly what went wrong at Summerhall.
Hmm.
Basically, it kills all the Targaryens except for like two of them that include the Mad King, who goes on to make everything go terrible at Game of Thrones.
Wow. And he's 77 and he wants to finish this series and the main
Yeah,
series. And
yeah.
he hasn't done anything since what,
Uh,
2016?
no. Well, that's if you're including Fire and Blood. Um, um, The
What is the most recent thing I can look that? Or I guess I
No,
can
it's
look at
Fire and
his.
Blood's the most recent thing. It's so A Dance with Dragons came out just after the first season of this TV show. So it's been out, like, I think it was like
2012.
2012 was when Dance with Dragons
Oh
came out.
God. 13 years since his last installment.
Yep.
Oh
And
no.
I wait. I still wait. Every so often I Google the Winds of Winter and I see that there is no information. Even though this is completely unnecessary, there is no way I won't like hear the fact that Winds of Winter is coming out like 5 minutes after it gets announced, like actually gets announced, but still, I still look it up just in case.
Just in case. Well, I think it's safe to say we're moving into the next part
Yes.
two of this episode. So to quickly sum up Hedge Knight, yeah, check it out. It's a great story. It's cool that it's being adapted to a miniseries, I keep saying miniseries being presumptuous. It's cool that it's getting adapted into a series, but the source content is great. So I would
Yeah.
say it doesn't matter whether you want to. It's a sort of like, what's your preference? Do you like reading books? Read the novella. Do you like graphic novels? Read the graphic novel.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same experience either
And you're
way.
you're going to enjoy it either way.
Yeah, so choose whichever one of those. But yeah, do check it out because it's worth looking at. So now, moving into part two, Game of Thrones
Game of
and the
Thrones.
scale that it and
Yes.
everything that it is.
So I guess we should give some background for what how, like our experience. So with Game of Thrones, you've only watched the television show.
I only watched the television show main series. I have not watched House of Dragons or anything else. Is there any?
Yes.
No, that's it. The House
That's
of the
it.
Dragon.
For
Yeah.
actual television shows, that's just it. And then Hedge Knights or A Knight of the Seven
Mhm.
Kingdoms is going to become the third series.
And what's very interesting is that Game of Thrones is actually very much back in the cultural zeitgeist at the moment for two reasons. One is because of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms coming out. Do you know the second reason?
No. Or oh, is it because Stranger Things is falling apart? So people are
Currently,
talking about
Stranger Things
comparing.
is crashing and burning in its final season. And so everyone's talking about it, Game of Thrones again.
Yes, because good God, the last season of Game of Thrones is not good.
Is everyone talk? I think it's that they say the last three seasons.
I would go. Lots of people look at like the Dorne episode as the thing that all went wrong. But I maintain when they killed off the Blackfish, that's the moment was when the entire thing fell apart. And you don't even
Hmm.
remember who the Blackfish is, but the way they killed him off completely unceremoniously and with like no, is that's the point I lost was like
Hmm.
this is no longer as good as it used to be.
Yeah, I think one of the big ones for me was whenever the dragon went through the ice. For some reason, that might have actually been in the final
That
season.
was second to last season.
Okay, that was the moment I was like, this I don't like this. This
Yeah,
this this logically doesn't check out. And I'm not enjoying what I'm watching. Doesn't mean that there weren't still standout moments. Like that
that's the thing.
entire
It's
episode
like
that was devoted to the battle, like whenever that was crazy cool.
oh, you mean the Battle of the Bastards? Yes, that one was
Yeah.
good. I was worried you were referring to the Long Night, and it was like, no, that
No,
episode was not good.
that was trash. No.
I like seeing what's happening. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, Battle of the Bastards. I still think about it as one of like those like cinematic masterpieces to
Oh,
commit
yeah,
an entire
like
episode to a battle is pretty crazy.
there was enough good stuff going on until until the Long Night episode. That's the episode I think most people agree the entire series just
Hmm.
became irredeemably terrible.
Yeah, interesting. But you're still, despite the transgressions of the main series, despite GRM essentially abandoning any work,
Because
you
the books are just that okay, the books are just that good. And also I'm in like a kind of weird place where so the buzz around the first season got me to read the books.
hmm.
So I read all five books before I had watched any of this TV show.
Oh,
So that like still to me the books are still like the primary thing to me. I didn't read the books
right.
because I liked the television show.
You were
Yeah.
able to get to the books before the TV show came out. Interesting.
Yes. And I read
Okay.
through like all five books. I read all five books in like less than 6 months. It was
That's
first year
crazy. Those things are
university.
long.
I would, yeah, it was a law. It was, yeah,
A lot of reading.
they're really good though.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of ranking, so if someone was to engage with the GRRMU,
Yeah.
books come number one. It goes like, would you say it's like books, novella, That's then this is the question. Do you I mean, then maybe it's novella. I think we
Okay, you
have
know
to
what?
say novella slash graphic novels
Let's
because
go even
apparently
deeper.
they're the
Okay,
same
the
thing.
best things George R. R. Martin has. Okay, the GRMU. The best thing is the original five the
Books,
original
yeah.
five Song of Ice and Fire books. Then it's the Dunk and Egg novellas. Then it's Fire and Blood. Then it's like the first five seasons of the Game of Thrones television show. Then it's House of Dragon. Then it's the last seasons of uh, the last three seasons.
Of last. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So you would still put, is that a testament to the strength of his writing or to the weakness of the television shows?
Well, it's because I think the thought that like the best parts of Game of Thrones are the first season. That's just straight up because of his writing was so good.
Hmm, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because
That, I mean, that's the same as what we're seeing. Essentially, that what we're seeing in the graphic novel is then shown on a bigger scale when it comes to the TV series, which is
yes,
that the reason these are so great and they're so acclaimed is because of the story. I mean, they do a great job with scenes and with cinematography and with costuming. Like they do an amazing job of creating the visual
yeah,
world, but it's
and it's
still.
like the Red Wedding is one of the greatest moments, whether you read it or watched it. It's one of like the greatest moments in fiction.
Mhm.
Like it's truly the like
You just start murdering off
yeah,
what you
it's like
assume were main characters.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah, I don't. Do you think there could ever be something else like the GRMU that is essentially this fantasy? What would you even describe? But it's so cut through, like high political drama fantasy with extremely high stakes, and no one is safe.
Yeah. Which also I would like to bring up one thing that I think is one of the secret sauces of why it works so well is
Hmm.
Game of Thrones does not have that high of a body count among the main characters.
Not how high. What?
That high of a body count. Not that many
Oh.
main characters in Game of Thrones die.
Hmm.
Because of that, when the ones that do die, it hits so much harder. This isn't like one of those like, oh, anyone can die. So like, you ever
No
watched
one's
Akame ga
safe.
Kill?
Uh, I don't think so.
The
Wait,
anime?
is the ad yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, maybe
yeah.
ages ago, eons
Ages ago.
ago.
But yeah, like Akame ga Kill's problem, yeah, is also everyone can die, but that doesn't quickly loses stops becoming interesting because you realize anyone can die means everyone's going to die. That's even
Hmm.
less interesting. Game of
Mhm.
Thrones does not do that at all.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that's true. The secondary characters are very much the ones on the chopping block, but
And the thing,
primaries,
like, I think we mentioned this. There's like point of view characters in Game of Thrones.
yeah.
Discounting prologue characters because there's kind of a thing where the prologue character always dies in the prologue. Only two point of view characters have died in the entirety of
Hmm.
Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Um, yeah, Ned and Catelyn.
interesting.
Because notably, Rob is not a point of view character.
Oh, poor Rob. Wait,
Yeah,
who's the other one? Catelyn? Who's that?
Catelyn, Ned's wife,
Ah,
Catelyn
yeah,
Stark.
that makes sense.
And it's doubly fun. Yeah, have you heard of Lady Stoneheart?
No, I'm not good. Even if
Okay,
I had, I wouldn't remember.
one of the famous things that the books do that the show did not is Catelyn comes back as a zombie.
Wait, that's a good thing
It's
in
a
the
very it's like the
books.
coolest part of the third book
Oh,
is she becomes back as like a vengeful
Nightwalker?
not a White Walker. You remember the one-eyed guy um who kept dying and like the Lord of Light brings him back?
Oh, vaguely, yes.
Yes. So what happens is he dot like that group finds Catelyn's corpse and then like he sacrifices the like returning fire of himself to give it to Catelyn.
Wow. Wait, how could they, why would they abandon this? It seems like a very primary
Yeah.
plot device to have
Yes, it
included.
is.
God. Ah, so this is why the people that read the books tend to not have liked the series is because of elements like that.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes. And yeah, there's also like another huge thing is that possibly fake Daenerys's um older brother is like comes back like one of the kids that was supposed to have been killed in the sacking of King's Landing like comes back, but he's like probably not actually him. It's probably someone pretending to be him. And that's like a
Hmm.
huge plot point that just the show just completely ignored.
Just don't acknowledge. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's very funny to get more insight into why people who read the books are not fans of the the other content for good reason. So then, not wanting to spend too much time going down these rabbit holes, but
No, just keep
last
going.
couple
Keep going,
thoughts.
Davin. I will keep talking forever about
I
Game of
know,
Thrones.
okay, so I'm only going to ask you a few more questions. Um, so then, knowing that you rated House of the Dragon still quite low, and that's sort of what I've heard is that it's mid, which I know is usually seen as a derogatory thing, but I think that
Yeah.
that's fair to say. Is it just sort of mid content where it is just sort of seeming like they're adapting it?
Um, I think the thing about House of the Dragons is the first season was actually like really good,
Mm,
and then the second season started showing the same cracks that the would became a problem in Game of Thrones.
uh,
So we still don't know if it's gonna be,
hmm,
but there's a lot of questionable stuff happening in the second. They're like, don't think you should have cut that character. I don't think that's gonna work
right.
now.
Hmm.
I don't know
So I
why you added
guess,
that part.
right, questionable
Yeah.
adaptation. So I guess, so then there's two different questions I have off of that. Because the novellas are shorter, there's less chance of them cutting stuff,
Yes, I
which
think quite the
therefore
opposite.
gives
I think they
hope.
actually they have to, as seen in that trailer, they're gonna have to add stuff for
Right.
like yeah,
Yeah.
because it would be
Okay.
like you would make like a movie out of
Hmm.
the Hedge Knight. You wouldn't be able to make an entire television miniseries like 6 episode, 8 episode, whatever they're doing miniseries.
Well, it's very interesting then, because then it's the opportunity for making mistakes in a different way. But then, so then going back to House of Dragon as well as the original Game of Thrones, why does it fall apart as an adaptation?
That really the $1 million question here. Like that's what people have been asking. Like the question what like did they when they ran out of George R. R. Martin material, did they would decide they were gonna like they just didn't have good ideas of their own. That's kind of assumed to be the thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what it has to be.
Yeah.
Should they, so what do you think I think that that's sort of that has to be what it is essentially they were so reliant on JRRM to
Yes.
find success, and
Which is
then
the interesting
without him,
thing,
it falls apart.
which is not the thing for House of the Dragon, because House of the Dragon
Hmm.
is an actual complete story. That much is 100% finished by George R. R. Martin.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
interesting.
So that one, it's a bit like it kind of feels like part of what I'm 100% editorializing a thing. I think that the problem is that okay, we're gonna have to tangent a little bit. The big plot of House of the Dragon is what's called the Dance of Dragons, which is
Yeah,
like the big civil war that basically what caused the Targaryens to lose all of their dragons, what
right.
got all their dragons killed. And a big plot point about the Dance of the Dragons is everyone sucks, no one is good. The only people, no one won the Dance of the Dragons. House Targaryen just lost.
Hmm.
And I think they have whoever's adapting House of the Dragon is having an issue with that. They
Hmm.
want to have main characters you root for. They want to have everyone be like good but misunderstood. They can't
Right.
handle the fact everyone's supposed to be terrible.
Everyone's supposed to be flawed.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Well, that would be problematic if you're essentially changing the one of the core themes and ideas of the most critical plot point. Well, that
Yes.
does seem to be a potential problematic
Which
indicator
also
of
that's
something to
another
come.
problem. Like my assumption with the theme of Game of Thrones was always it doesn't matter who sits on the Iron Throne. We're all gonna get murdered by ice zombies. That was always what I took was like the general theme of Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
But then the show was like, but no, we'll leave one episode for that and then spend three
Oh, that's
episodes.
right.
Yeah,
That's part of what was horrendous about that was the build up for the White
yeah.
Walkers who
White
then
Walkers
get dealt
spent
with
seven
in one
seasons
episode
being built up and then were killed in one episode.
as the big bad, and then they fall in one episode. Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spence's hand just went to his forehead unintentionally. Unintentional head palm in response to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, what a devastating turn for that. What should have been one of the greatest series. So, but I also acknowledge they were in a hard spot because they
Yes.
can't stop and wait for GRM. That's not
No.
good enough.
They
But
can't, but also like D&D, the makers of them get possibly unfairly criticized constantly
hmm,
for what their work on that. But they said some pretty questionable stuff in reference to like the source material and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy around them and how they sort of gave up trying, and everyone thought that that was because they got hired for Star Wars,
Yep.
and then
And
they
they just want
botched
they want
Star Wars.
well, they said they didn't even make their Star Wars. They just got knocked.
Oh,
Yeah, their Star Wars thing got canceled.
oh, interesting. Oh, right. I feel like I knew that, and everyone was like, "Good,"
Yeah.
because the irony of them essentially giving up. Well,
Yes.
because the right then the attitude was you gave up trying on Game of Thrones, and because of that, Star Wars was like, "No, we're not going to give this to you because clearly you botched this."
Yeah. Well, because famously the last season was like 100% them. Everyone else was like, take as long as you need. Game
Yeah,
HBO was like, if you want 10 more seasons of this, cool. Like George R. R. Martin was like, yeah, I probably need more than one season, but they were like, nope, we want to finish it in 8 seasons.
yeah. Interesting. And then they ruined it,
Yeah.
and there's no going back. And there's so many. If anyone's interested in what really wanting to rub salt in the wounds, you can go back and you can watch like cast readings and
Oh
reactions
yeah.
to. It's good, and it's so sad.
Oh yeah.
It's so sad seeing like Amelia Clark like
Yeah.
making
Best season
faces.
ever.
Yeah,
That's her scene, she says. And then there's that moment with like Peter Dinklage, is like where it appears to be that they have his family taking hostage, as he's like, D&D are the greatest writers I have ever seen, and they have made a great work. And then there's like during the cast reading, there's the guy who plays you know,
Varys
Varys.
looks
Yeah. Varys like
pissed.
throwing the script away, and it's like, yeah.
He's furious. Well, there's also during that same cast reading that whoever played Jon Snow, I can't remember who now,
Yeah, Kit Harington.
but look, Kit Harington like looking at Amelia Clark and was like, yeah, yeah, this is what they did. Like that's crazy that everyone during the readings could see how awful it was.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal. Man, what a disappointment. What a
Yeah.
what a disappointing.
But then there's those
Uh,
books.
so
Because
then
good God,
it's
those books are good.
so
And,
then it's
and it's an
do,
interesting case too, where the answer is going to be no. You ever heard of the King Killer Chronicles?
no.
Similar situation where they're like have the first two books and the third one hasn't been written. It's been
Mm,
like 15 years since the second two, and we're still waiting on the third one. And unlike the author of that one, though, George R. R. Martin is still writing. The problem is he's
mm.
not writing what we want him to write.
Okay. What is he rating?
Well, he's writing like he's like writing scripts for the TV shows and stuff like that.
Oh,
So he's still
gotcha.
working hard. He just isn't writing what
No,
isn't
not the
writing the
right
Winds
part.
of Winter.
That's funny. Well, so that's the question. Do you think he's going to?
I stay with 100% certainty. I will read the Winds of Winter at some point in my life.
But do you, oh,
The
whether or not
question
it's written by him.
becomes, will it will because I am sure there is enough of Winds of Winter has been written that
Hmm.
when he dies, someone will be able to like put together a final copy. And even though he's like said stuff about like he wants it to not like it's gonna get finished. Like
Yeah.
there's no way.
Do you think
Um,
that it finishes with one more? Is that what he said?
so here's the thing. Winds of Winter is not the last book, no matter what. There's
Right.
two more books. There's a Winds of Winter and a Dream of Spring. And I think there is a not unrealistic chance that George R. R. Martin will actually finish the Wind of Winter. I think there is no way in hell he's finishing a Dream of Spring.
No. There must be like a betting stage somewhere.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You can
Hell,
put
you
money
bet
on
on anything
that.
now.
But yeah, I think I just can't. And there's no way he's doing any more of Dunk and Egg. There's no way
No.
on top of the other two.
Yeah, there's an
No
outside
way.
chance we might get like one of them after he finishes. If he finishes this, he might like Calic cleanse
Yeah,
because they're not that hard. Like I'm sure
definitely.
he could like probably write one out in a couple months
Hmm.
if he's like inspired. But then like who knows?
Yeah, interesting.
Honestly, there's some theory that he already actually has a bunch of Dunkin' Eggs written. He just knows if he releases them, that he's going to get crucified.
That's that's a good theory. And he's probably not wrong. I mean, that's what's crazy is the fervor. That's what I'm learning about the fervor of the internet. My
Yeah.
goodness. If you spend enough time on there, you will learn that the strength of feelings that people have on there is unbridled.
Oh yeah.
I foolishly made a comment about Hassan Piker maybe not being the greatest role model, and
Mm.
the amount of Hassan Piker stands that came for me was crazy.
Wow, hadn't heard about that.
Well, no, it was just like an offhand comment I posted somewhere, and just like they came out. And I was
Oh,
like, can
jeez.
y'all just like chill out? He's
Uh,
like,
yeah.
I'm not even gonna get into it,
Yeah,
but
let's not get into that now. So,
yeah, but that's more my example of
yeah.
I think it's sort of if you take anything, the fans of it will feel way beyond passionately. People only have so much to hold on to these days
Yes.
that they love and adore,
Yes.
and so
Some
any
people
sort
put a
of
little too much feel like of their own identity into the things they like.
that is an absolutely apt way to put that. Oh man. All right. Well, glad to have been able to give you an opportunity to just talk a little bit about Game of
Yeah, I
Thrones. I
guess.
know.
Also, I guess actually one thing I wanted to ask. There's no way you're going to be able to figure it out. One character from actual Game of Thrones is mentioned in Dunk and Egg. Did you pick up who it was?
No.
Okay. Egg at one point mentions his older brother. He has an older brother who's a maester who's not there with him. That is the Master Aemon at the Wall.
Oh,
The
well,
like
that's fun.
super old blind maester. So that's Egg's older brother.
I'm very confused timeline.
Well, that's because 100 years. Because Master Aemon's supposed to be like ungodly old.
I thought that you said he was like great
No,
grandfather of
he's the
Daenerys.
great grandfather to Daenerys.
Oh, God, so confusing. Okay. I get lost when it comes to timelines. Okay. So no, I missed that, but what a fun universe.
Oh
But
yeah, and all yeah. There's also lots of fun like with also back to fans. Red Apple Fosways are like the most hated house in game in among fans.
okay, interesting.
Yeah, just entirely from this story. It's like no, they yeah. Everyone hates the Red Apple Fosways. Everyone loves the Green Apple ones.
Everyone stands green apple, everyone hates red apple.
Yeah,
That's so stupid. Okay. All right, enough of this.
yeah.
That's so funny. We hate the red apples. We're team green apple.
Hey, Green Apple.
Team green apple, team unripe apple. All right. Enough of the GRRMU.
Yeah,
Spence, we of course are always excited to take on new content. And so we are heading into our first manga of 2026. Spence,
yeah.
what is next on the reading docket?
You know what? I thought let's start the same way we started last year because we'll be doing Tatsuki Fujimoto's 22 to 26.
22 22 to 26.
Yeah. So Tatsuki Fujimoto.
Wait, like 2026?
No. So Tatsuki Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man 22 to 26. So Tatsuki Fujimoto is the Chainsaw Man author, and relevantly for us, also the author of Goodbye Eri, the first one we did last year. And have been released to all of his like one-shot works he did before he did any of those other stuff have been released. One of them was Haji Fujimoto 17 to 22, and the other one was 22 to 26. And
Oh,
we'll be
cool.
doing the second one because I think there's more interesting stuff to talk about there. Even though there's no connection. They're just all one shots. So
Hajimoto, what is this called?
Tatsuki Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man
Tatsuki
22 to
Fujimoto.
26.
Oh, wow. Okay. Crazy. So wait, Goodbye Area was part of this?
No, Goodbye Eri is just another one shot thing he did.
Got it.
So
Tatsuki
this is before.
Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man, a colon 22 to 26. For anyone trying and struggling to find the name like I was, it is literally Tatsuki Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man, colon 22 to 26 is the name of this book. I thought you were trying to describe it to me
No,
because
that
that's
is
what it
literally.
sounds like. If you're like, okay, so what we're gonna read is Tatsuki Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man, 22 to 26. I was
Yes,
like,
you would think I referring to Tatsuki Fujimoto like you think I was referring to like before Chainsaw Man issues 22 to 26, but no.
yeah, I thought the name of the book was 22 to 26, and I was
Which it
like,
kind
oh,
of
this is
is.
well, if you Google that,
Oh
it's
yeah,
giving
no.
me like dating rules on Reddit and like biblical passages. Like It gives me after the that's so funny. The first link it gives me is a Reddit dating thing. 26-year-olds of Reddit, would you date a 22-year-old? And then the second thing is Deuteronomy 22 to 26 in the Bible. Okay. That's very funny.
Yes. Yeah.
But
So this is four one shots by Tatsuki Fujimoto made before he did everything else. So
very cool. Okay, going back to one shots by Tatsuki Fujimoto, just like you
yeah.
said, like we started with Goodbye Eri in
Yes.
2025, 2026, aka 22-26, hence also my confusion, is a great way to start off this year. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, if you're also interested in checking out Tatsuki Fujimoto before Chainsaw, this is another
Uh,
the guy she's interested in wasn't a guy at all. Where
yeah.
I'm gonna have to figure out a different. We're gonna do 22 to
Well, that
26.
that one will be less hard because each of the stories within has their own. Like it's four stories and each of them has their own title. So we don't have to
Okay,
refer to them as those
that'll
in the
make it
actual.
easier. But if you're interested in finding this, head on over to VesperiaComics.com or to Vesperia Manga and Comics in Vancouver, British Columbia, and pick up Tatsuki Fujimoto Before Chainsaw Man: 22-26. And then listen along in 2 weeks on January 17th as we discuss said long comic, give our reactions, takeaways, book club things. And if you're not able to pick it up online or in person, of course, you can always order Canada wide shipping from VesperiaComics.com or otherwise check out local library, bookstore, borrow it from a friend, etc., if those options are not available to you. But that's it for episode 26, the first episode of 2026. Planning to read 22-26. That's pretty cool. That's pretty, wow.
Yeah.
So,
The,
how
the different
serendipitous.
26s, because the 26 refers to the 22-26 refers to Tatsuki Fujimoto's age, but still.
That's it for episode 26 of the Long Comics Book Club. Thanks so much for listening. Wonderful to have you with us at the book club. If you want to follow us, you can check out our Blue Sky, Instagram for updates, as well as our Discord, where you can share your thoughts on the Hedge Knight, maybe your reactions to the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, or the Hedge Knight itself, or in advance of the January 17th podcast. And we will look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, and we will talk to you then. Bye bye.
See ya.